What's up, Bulldogs? All right, today we're going to be talking about your girlfriend's phone. So I got a comment from a guy that is asking a pretty good question about this, and I'm going to give a few ways to handle this situation, right? What if you suspect that your girlfriend is doing something on her phone, or that, the way that she's being secretive with her phone, that might be a problem, right? How do you handle that? So let's see what he said here. He said, "Hi, John. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for about 6 months, and I've noticed some consistent behaviors related to her phone usage that are causing me some concern. She keeps her Instagram notifications turned off and mutes no notifications almost all of her text conversations, including mine, although she is always very quick to respond to me. Additionally, she uses privacy screen protector and habitually places her phone face down. She explains that she mutes everything to avoid being disturbed by constant notifications and her phone vibrating. I also want to note that I noticed she always had her phone set up like this from the beginning when we first started talking. She's never given me any reason to doubt her or not to trust her in the past, and I understand that everyone has their own preferences regarding phone usage. I am curious about your perspective on whether these behaviors could be considered a lack of transparency in a relationship. As you often emphasize the importance of openness and honesty in relationships, I'm wondering if this could be a potential red flag. I'm hesitant to bring this up with her, as I don't want to come across as insecure or distrusting. Your perspective on this situation would be greatly valued, and I would appreciate a video discussing this topic, as it might help others in similar situations. Thanks for your insight." Okay, so a few things here, right? So first off the bat, I have to tell you guys this, and I'll probably do a longer video about this, but stop worrying about coming across as insecure, controlling, untrusting, whatever it is. Women are using this language to bully you and to scare you and to make you actually weak, all right? You should not be fazed by this. Do not be insecure about being insecure, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous. You know when you're coming from a place of strength. You know when what you are thinking or what you're doing is rational, all right? And you know when you're being insecure and controlling, all right? And that's not the case in most of the instances where women will beat you up for things like that, right? So, for example, if you say, "Hey, I don't like you hanging out with guys, with guy friends," that's not insecure. It's not controlling. It's something that you don't like. It's totally fine. All right. Now, if a woman comes back and says, "Don't be so insecure. It's not attractive when you're insecure. Don't you trust me? I can't believe that you don't trust me." Nope. Don't even get fazed by that shit. Do not get fazed by that shit. Just say, "Well, I don't like it. And I don't care if it's insecure or if you think that it's controlling. I don't like it." All right. That's it. All right, you need to have the balls to stand up and face these things. So with that said, let's talk about the real issue here. Okay, there's 3 ways that you can deal with this. Right now, before I tell you the 3 ways, I do want to tell you that what I suspect may be going on here. Right, so muting Instagram notifications, not that big of a deal. I have mine muted for sure. Right, if you've got a decent size account, then that would be the case. And muting text notifications. I mean, I've got my WhatsApp muted because I don't want that all popping up all the time, but I can understand that too, potentially. Right now, having the screen privacy on the iPhone and always turning it down. I always turn mine down as well, but having the screen filter on that, I don't know. The combination of these things could suggest that maybe she's doing something on the internet, right? Maybe she has an OnlyFans account that you don't know about, or maybe she has is doing like a sugar daddy situation that you don't know about. Again, maybe that's not the case. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying that that's what my immediate thoughts would be, but I don't want to scare you, because that doesn't mean that what I'm saying is accurate. It just means that's what my immediate thoughts would be. Now, dang. Just to sneeze on the video. There we go. But here's what I would say. Okay, so there's 3 ways of handling the situation, right? And it depends on what you want to know, all right, and how much you want to know. Okay, so if you want to know the maximum amount, right? If you want to get the real truth, what is she doing? And not a lot of people want to do this, right? This is akin to having, I don't know, like a camera and watching something. It's like sometimes you don't want to know exactly what someone is up to, like what bad thoughts they have, what things that they fantasize about, right? Like, I'm just saying, right? It's like if you looked at someone's search history you might learn things about them that you don't want to know. Okay, it depends on you, right? So you could be a person that wants to know everything and is willing to handle everything. But again, what I'm telling you here, some people are not going to like what I'm going to say, by the way. But that's fine. All right. But what I'm telling you here is based on you deciding what you want to know. All right. And then how to go about this. And the reason why I'm saying this, okay, is because it depends on how you're going to confront the situation, depending on. Now, if you want to know the maximum amount, right? If you want to know the maximum amount of what is going on, the only way to do that, right? Really, the only way to do that is to have her not know that you care about this situation or that you know anything about it, right? Now, given that she hasn't given you any reason to distrust her so far that you have mentioned, I would shy away from this one. And it's also tend to be an invasion of privacy, and and this one could actually fall under the category of being somewhat insecure, but hey, you know what? If I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with a person, investing my life into someone, yeah, I'm gonna investigate them. All right, I have no problem snooping through their shit. Okay, because if you're talking about long-term relationship, that's fine. I think that's totally fine, right? I don't think it's good to like always have a habit of snooping through everything and being totally distrusting. But at some point, though, hey, you run a background check, and that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if you want the maximum amount of information unfiltered, and the reason why you got to do it this way is because if she has any hint that you suspect anything, she's going to change her behaviors, right? But if you want to see what they are right now, you got to get a hold of her phone and her phone password, right? That's it. And then when she's not around, you look and you see for yourself, and you see what's going on, and you see what her messages are. If you want to check her browser history, you check that, whatever. Like that's what I'm saying, is that if you want to know the max amount of information. Now, a lot of people are going to say, there's two other ways, but a lot of people are going to hear what I'm saying and they're going to say, John, that's wrong, man. You can't just like look at someone's phone without their permission, and that's just like, if you don't trust this person, you shouldn't be in a relationship with them at all. And I've heard it all before, but I am going to tell you that if you want to know the max amount of information, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying that this is the only way to know the maximum amount of information without her altering her behavior at all, or explaining away anything, right? That's what you have to do, right? So so that's what it comes down to, right? And like I said, if you're going to get into, you've been with her for 6 months, if you're considering marrying her and, you have this issue and you really want to know what's going on, yeah, maybe it is a little bit of a distrusting thing. Maybe it's a little bit of a sneaky thing, right? You could say it's an invasion of privacy. Sure, that's fine, but I don't think you really should have privacy in a committed relationship anyway, which is, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I get all the arguments for doing this, and this isn't certainly not the way that I would necessarily suggest without any other kind of suspicion. Now, if you had some other kind of suspicion, you were getting some other signs that she might be, up to something, cheating on you, doing something, then I would be much more inclined to say, yeah, do this, figure this out. And but I'll leave that to you. All right, so there's two other ways. Okay, the second way to handle this situation is to, on the spot, one day, just say, hey, let me see your phone, and then see how she responds. And then, and then at that point, you're going to learn a lot of information just by saying, hey, let me see your phone. And you can just couch it like this. Like you can say, hey, your phone could be dead, right? Like, let's say you just let your phone die, and then you say, oh shoot, my phone battery died. You mind if I use your phone real quick to make a call or whatever it is? I want to check my stock, or I want to message, myself a message so I don't forget, whatever it is, right? You can use any kind of excuse, but she really shouldn't have any problem with that, right? And if she does have a problem with that, then say, no, seriously, like, let me see your phone, like unlock your phone and let me take a look at it, right? And then again, if she's having problems with that, there's an issue, because she should have no problem with that, right? And if she says, oh, no, whatever, make some kind of excuse, you're going to find out a lot of information. But you can look at her phone, then, right? And you can go through and you can see what's on there on messages and stuff. You might think, okay, well, if she's right there and I said I need to use it to text someone, you could just say, oh, I just wanted to see what's on your phone. You could make it a fun little game or whatever it is. I don't know. Like I said, it's not gonna. None of these things are gonna be very easy to do or go super well. But hey, you can show her your phone, or you could just say, hey, I thought we'd do that thing where they swap phones. You could use that as a reason to swap phones, right? In fact, you could do that anytime, right? So you could literally just say, hey, I saw this thing on TikTok where this guy comes up to two people and has them swap each other phones, right? I think we should do that right now. And then you give her your phone and you take her phone, right? So again, you might find out information that you don't want to find out, but hey, that's part of it. So there you go. Okay, that's the second way to handle this situation. All right, and I think honestly, that's probably the best way to handle the situation because it's not going to be sneaky. It's going to be direct. And you are going to see pretty much, I mean, at that point, like, you can be denied it, right? Like if she says, no, I'm not going to show you my phone, then, or she says, just give me a minute or whatever it is, you're never going to really know what's going on because, at that point, I guess you have to kind of decide if she won't show you her phone, then you're going to break up with her, right? Because you're never going to find out now. Because after that, right, then even if you have a discussion, right, later, if you don't see her phone in the moment that you've asked for it, you will never know what was on it or how things were going, right? Unless she's really, really sloppy. Because now she's going to know that you're on to her. Now she's going to know that she has to protect her phone and make sure that she doesn't have anything on there that you could find. And she's going to change her behavior, right? Or hide her behavior further. And so you won't know what was going on. And maybe she'll stop doing whatever she was doing. And you won't know that she was doing it before. So that's the downside of number two. Now you can see why number one is actually, even though it seems like a really bad thing, it might actually be the better thing because of the situation here where where she denies you the phone and now you have no choice but to break up with her, right? Or well, I mean, I won't say that you have no choice, but you either have to break up with her or just realize that you're never gonna know at this point, right? The third option is to actually just confront her about it and just to say, hey, here's the thing, right? And you could do this in one of two ways, right? You could do, like I said in the video where I talked about the 6 boundaries or rules for a relationship, which you should have already said ahead of time. See, this you'd have got yourself into this problem because you haven't done this. But you could say, hey, look, I think it's important for me as we're advancing our relationship, we've been together for 6 months now, that we have a high degree of transparency, right? So, and then you could go over the things and say, I think we should turn each other's locations on. I think we should have each other's phone passwords, right? And go through, be able to go through each other's phone. Not that I want to do that or that we should necessarily, but we should just have the access to it and then go through that kind of thing. And then you could say to her, or if you don't want to even go through that, you could just say, hey, look, I want to express something to you that is a concern to me, all right? That would probably be a concern to you. But you are your phone, you have your notifications turned off. You, for Instagram, right? You always have your phone face down. You've got a screen privacy filter on there. It just seems to me like you might be hiding something on your phone. I'm not saying that that's the case, but it seems to me like that might be the case. And that's a big concern to me. I would like to see what is on your phone based on those things, right? Again, this is kind of like part 2, but but you're basically just going to have this conversation and tell her what you that you are concerned about this and whatnot. And what's mostly going to happen if you're not looking at her phone right then, which is probably not going to be the case if you're just bringing this up, is that she's going to get upset at you. Okay. And she's going to say, well, why, and the more guilty she is, the more upset that she'll be. So if she's got nothing to hide, then she probably would be like, oh, well, I didn't mean to make you feel that way, whatever. It depends on how her emotional intelligence is as well. So it's going to be really hard to gauge. I mean, you can kind of gauge from the reaction and how she responds to that. But, she's most likely going to call you insecure or one of those things. But like I said, you have to be unfazed by that. You cannot be fazed by that. You cannot let that deter you and make you feel bad about yourself or whatever, because hey, it's a valid concern. I mean, I think everyone watching this video would say, based on what you commented here, that's a valid concern, right? Some people say, well, if you don't trust someone, you shouldn't be with someone. And the thing is, like, you got to figure out if you can trust someone, right? That's I think that's part of the thing. And sometimes you need to find out some things, especially when you're at this stage of relationship and you're thinking about going further potentially with that, or you're spending maybe the next couple of years of your life with a person. You should find this stuff out. So yeah, so those are basically the three things that you can do. There's really not much else you can do besides kind of surveillance in the sense that, like, you find out, you kind of act like a private eye and find out where does she go, what does she do, things like that. Again, I would not necessarily rule that kind of stuff out. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, let me tell you something. All right. And this is why I say this stuff, okay? Is because just don't get yourself in this kind of situation, right? And you say, John, well, how do I not get myself in this situation? It's real simple, all right? If you want, watch the episode of the Better Than Perfect podcast where my wife and I are talking about this. We did one on the rules of relationship. And as soon as you get into a committed relationship with a woman, if she wants to get in a committed relationship with you, you need to set down the boundaries, which are things like, I won't go in detail on all of these things in this video because I've talked about it before in my own video and on that podcast episode. But look, no guy friends, all right? No girls' night out, all right? Locations are shared. Like, you share your location, she shares her location, all right? If someone of the opposite sex text you show the text to the person. You're in a committed relationship, okay? This is not ridiculous, all right? You have at least phone passwords, maybe email passwords, all right? And that's it, right? That's how it should be. Like, those are kind of foundational elements, because I've never been in a committed relationship with someone where I didn't know where they were at all times. And I didn't know, I knew what they were doing. I knew where they were. I knew who they were hanging out with, right? You might think, again, some people might think that this stuff is controlling, or it's an invasion of privacy, or whatever, or it's distrusting. Look, committed relationship, you don't have to be in a committed relationship. But if you're in a monogamous, committed relationship, you should know where your partner is at all times. They should know where you are. They should know what you're up to. You should know what they're up to, right? This is not rocket science. And the thing is, like, if you have this kind of transparency, you're never going to run into these issues. Does it matter? You're not going to worry about what's on her phone. You got the phone password. She knows it. You've got the locations. Like, there's nothing that is going to go on that is nefarious, because or someone will just exit the relationship, right? That is a better way to play it. Now, again, take it from me, right, guys? Because all right, and I don't say this lightly, and I don't try to make light of this, but I was a cheater. Okay, I've done the whole thing. You can see on my other channel, explain the whole situation if you're new here, but I think most of you guys know me. I cheated on my ex-wife. Now, I had my reasons and all that stuff. I'm not going to go into that, but it doesn't justify it. It was still the wrong thing to do. But man, I knew how to hide all the stuff. Right. And I was like that with my phone, honestly. Like, I hid my notifications, my messages. I mean, I had some pretty blatant stuff that was on my phone. If someone ever got a hold of my phone, it would have been just a smoking gun, right? I wasn't even trying to hide what was on the phone. Okay. Now, I could, right? At one point I was doing that, but at one point I became so bold with it because I was able to get away with it. Right. But things like having the location on, not knowing where I am, like not communicating with people, friends of the opposite sex, like all these things would have prevented me from doing what I was doing. So it would have been good for me. It would have been good for the other partner involved as well. And it would have forced me to make a decision, either stay faithful or leave the relationship. There would be no other choice, at least not without being blatant about it and getting caught. So I think this is good. I think this is a good thing, right? This is why I say these things. And again, like a lot of people that get stuck on the trust thing, hey, every person that's ever cheated or been cheated on, they never expected that to happen. right? That's why they're in a relationship, because they didn't expect that to happen. So somehow it still happened. And so if you have so every single person that says, oh, I would never do that, or I would never let someone do that to me. Well, that's what everyone said. And then it happened. So that's all I'm saying is, again, like, coming from, I've got a pretty good perspective on this, right? Like I said, I've made mistakes. I'm not trying to justify mistakes, but you got to make a choice. 1, 2, or 3. What are you going to do? Right? That's like, ignoring it is not an option, because you feel a way about this. So 1, 2, or 3, it's a tough one, but you put yourself in this situation because you allowed this to occur. When you got into a commitment, when you get into a commitment relationship, when you get into a committed relationship with a woman, guys, that's when you have your highest leverage, because she's going to ask for commitment and you are going to say the things, the guidelines of how the relationship needs to function. And it is your job to do that as a leader. All right, guys, real quick, I am revamping the Bulldog Mindset membership. I've already kind of rebooted. I haven't done the official launch yet, but that is coming really, really soon. If you want to check it out, you want to join where we dissect a ton of stuff. I've got over 200 lessons in there. We do group coaching calls every single month. I'm revitalizing the community there. It's a great opportunity to, if you're really looking to transform your life, go check it out. Links down below, and I'll see you tomorrow.